Hey everybody, I'm Erin, and my company is Nude Bar, and we make skin-toned bodywear, hosiery, and intimate apparel in 12 shades of nude. We have the most options on the market, and I was one of the first brands in the category to have skin tone inclusivity, body positivity as in the bodywear category.
Lovely. Yeah, Enrico, just carry on.
Hi, I'm Rico. I'm the founder and CEO of Piece of Skincare. Piece of Skincare was founded because of my own personal struggle with acne and really wanted to revolutionize the acne industry by both bringing breakthrough formulas that deliver effective acne products, at the same time also create an acne positive community where people felt embraced and understood of the struggle with acne and that all skin is beautiful.
Grace?
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Grace Alea, and I'm the founder and co-creator of Grace Alea Inc. And our flagship product, the original satin line cap, I created because of a very real problem that I had with hair breakage myself. And it's basically if the beanie and the bonnet had a baby, it would be the satin line cap or slap cap, because it combines the fashion aspects of a beanie, but it also has the hair protective aspects of a satin bonnet. And so I created it again because of a real problem in my own life, and we've expanded to turbans and all sorts of other fun products as well.
Awesome. And David?
Hey everyone. David Roger, co-founder and CEO of Felix Gray. We pioneered the blue light glasses market, which I'm wearing today. So you're in front of a screen all day, your eyes get exhausted at the end of the day. I know a lot of you probably feel that same situation. Wear a pair of blue light glasses, but we have a proprietary way of filtering blue light, eliminating glare in a great looking frame is really important to us. Grown to over 400,000 customers, which is great. And now we're really focused on the larger mission of improving our relationship with technology in general. So if you think about how that affects our eyes, our ergonomics, our sleep, our general energy and productivity, we want to be able to create product solutions for all those categories.
Awesome. So I might, you are very handsome. It's because of the mic. I'm just going to stay over this side a little bit. My first question to you all is, as you all alluded to, you all have amazing personal stories and connections with your brands. Now, my first question is, do you think that's essential to succeed in this day and age where you're solving a problem for yourself? So I'll start with Erin down the M.
Yeah, so I started Nude Bar because I used to be a professional dancer and a commercial actress, and nude underwear and tights and shoes were required, and dancers in my industry were dyeing their tights on a weekly basis. They were spray painting their shoes or patting makeup foundation on their shoes, which in the industry we call pancaking, which is pretty absurd that there's terminology around this. But I, felt like really compelled to change this and to create a product. And for me, it drives me personally. I have 2 young daughters. They're brown girls as well. I hope that they don't have to go through all the hoops that I had to go through to make products work for me, to have representation on the market. And so I do think it makes more successful if you have a personal story, because you're more driven to go through the pain points as a founder, because it's not easy. It's not easy starting a business. It's not easy, producing products, creating products, but I'm driven every day from my personal experience and from my personal struggles to find a product like mine. So yeah, I do think so.
Enrico, you're next, mate.
I'm aligned with you. I think my personal struggle with acne is what led me to develop Peace Out. And having a personal struggle is what drives me every day to really innovate products and really come out with products that deliver on the promised results, because I went through trying a million things that never worked and they were like, your acne is going to be gone in 6 hours. I'm like, no, it's not, obviously. But we developed a product that does. So yeah, I think it's absolutely necessary in today's age to have a passion for what you do and really have a personal struggle that motivates you every day to keep thriving and keep innovating.
Okay, I could just add to what they said. I think that they covered it for the most part. I agree that passion is huge for right now, as well as authenticity, and it's hard to be authentic if you're not passionate about the product that you're selling. At the same time, I don't know how many billions of dollars were made by men who made clothes for women, right? So it might not necessarily be a requirement for a brand to have been a founder to have solved the problem for themselves, as long as they know how to communicate authentically to their customer. So I can see both ways.
Yeah, well said. Dave, you on the ad, mate?
Yeah, I think it's just a great way to start a business, to know your customer because you are your customer. I think long term you have to think beyond just yourself in order to really expand and grow. But you know, I'm a first-time founder myself. When I was starting this early on, I think that it would have been a lot harder if I were creating a product that I didn't truly resonate with myself.
Yeah, it goes without saying, obviously solving a problem is where it starts. It's not all be all and end all, but it allows you to connect with the person you're potentially having a purchase from. So I love that. So, you know, it goes without saying, one of the biggest topics right now is supply chain. And with us all having products, there's things that we have to navigate. So, you know, is there something that you're seeing in this space that you look to innovate in your supply chains going forward? Dave, we'll start with you, mate.
So we've been focused on supply chain for a few years now. You know, I think most brands need to get to profitability earlier than they did, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago. A lot of that can be unlocked through supply chain management, whether it's like cash flow in terms of improving just-in-time fulfillment or just-in-time manufacturing, or whether it's, you know, ways to just find, you know, ways to just improve your COGS structures. What we're seeing right now is supply chains are definitely held up. So sometimes, especially for different packaging and things, it's actually very useful to look inward and domestically, because it might be a little bit more expensive on your own end, might affect your P&L a little bit, but your cash won't get tied up in inventory the same way. So it's one of the things that we've been looking into.
Oh, I'm adding that one. That's huge. I love that. What do you, Grace?
Yeah, no, I agree. So one big thing is to diversify your manufacturing. So on the upstream supply chain for getting the products from the manufacturer into your own warehouse, I definitely think that coming internal is huge. Planning is also another way. If you know right now that it's going to take an extra month to get your products approved or cleared at the port, then you just add about 4 weeks of inventory to your plan. And that's another way that you can kind of make sure. And one other thing, so I know that I don't want to take too much time, but on the downstream supply chain, there's so many third-party logistics that are opening up that you can actually have a presence in Canada, let's say, or in another state where you might not have your warehouse might not be physically, in order to ship to the products to customers within just a couple of days. So.
Well, I think supply chain, especially in skincare and productions, really was challenged throughout COVID and beyond, even now. And we made the decision last year to start buying, for example, the raw materials ourselves, or all the packaging ourselves, because the manufacturer were, say, overcharging, and there was not a lot of transparency. So this year we actually opened our Peace-Out lab, where we make all of the R&D in-house, and we get quotes for all the raw materials, the packaging and everything else, sorry. And we deliver the final goods, basically, to the manufacturer, so there is, all they could add is just the manufacturing cost, and not additional cost to every, you know, single thing.
Yeah, I mean, everybody said really amazing things. You know, for us as a startup, even when I was bootstrapping the business, innovation and manufacturing and supply chain always had to be creative. We always had to find new ways to get our costs down. So although it is a challenging time, I don't feel that it's that different from when I first started the business in the first, 3 years, where I had to be super scrappy and, make sure that we were cutting costs in any way that we could, and being creative and working really closely with our manufacturers and our 3PL and so on. I am finding, though, that with all of the challenges with supply chain, that even some of our manufacturers are offering discounts, because some companies can't keep up with the rising costs. Some companies can't manufacture as frequently as they used to because they're not as liquid. The cash flow isn't there. And so that's actually beneficial to us, because now we can negotiate on some of our, per unit cost even better. So in some ways, there are some benefits. And like you said, there's 3PLs that are popping up now, and there's a lot of new opportunity. You just have to be out there looking for the new opportunity and constantly hustling to figure out what makes sense for your business.
So it sounds like the secret is just to work hard and find a good solution. So it goes without saying. I think one of the coolest things we're seeing right now is the retail market is obviously seeing what's happening in the digital landscape. And a lot of retail buyers are looking at avenues where brands can help them on the digital side and draw traffic to, whether it be in-store or coupons and things like that. How do you see your brands using your digital landscape to support the retails you're going into? Grace, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so there's a few different ways. So we actually started e-commerce and in the digital landscape ourselves. And so from the beginning, 8 years ago, when we started in 2014 now, we knew how to communicate directly to the customer and directly to the consumer. And so we just leveraged the platform that we already built. We built from 2014, we built an email list relatively quickly to over 500,000 subscribers. And so we can leverage that now to support our retail partners, and in addition to social media and the different things like that.
Enrique, you want to go next, mate?
Oh. One exciting thing, we launched on Amazon in February of this year. We've been exclusive with Sephora since July of 17. So we're Sephora.com, Sephora Europe, Sephora Canada. We also launched our DTC in 17 as a not to sell, but it was more for an education purpose, and then we relaunched in 19. And we're now focusing on expanding to Amazon with Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, and really focusing on winning on those channels.
Awesome.
Yeah, for us, we recently launched in some big box retailers like Macy's and Bloomingdale's and Saks Fifth Avenue. And a lot of the brands in the category don't have like an authentic story connected to them. And we do a lot of storytelling in our digital channels, whether it be social, whether it be in paid media. And so a lot of the retailers that we do partner with want to use a lot of our content and our storytelling, and it helps amplify what we're doing even more and get more customers in the door in those channels as well as our own D2C channels. So it's quite helpful.
Yeah, I think to your point, retailers really want to be able to piggyback off the story that you're telling and that authentic story. So, we launched a diffused line in Target earlier this year, and the idea there is we want to tell the larger digital wellness story with them through the retail format, and that's something that they want to partner with us and do. So I think when you're seeing really successful retail relationships, it's that combined desire to be able to tell a unified story. Sometimes you can get into retail and it doesn't move because there's not that alignment. So I think it gets really exciting off the bat, and you get that first PO and it's awesome, but it really is all about that sell-through. And to make sure that sell-through is there, it really comes down to, is everyone aligned to tell the same story?
Okay, so you would suggest that you would build out some sort of system that would create storytelling to whether it be distributors or the retailers or the sellers of those companies.
Well, we hired for someone way smarter than me to do that.
Of course.
But she's amazing. And she's
How good's
killing on that
delegation? Delegation's amazing. So inclusivity, it's obviously needed in this day and age. It's become very apparent. So how are you all in your respective brands using it within your companies? We'll start, Enrico, for you, mate.
Yeah, of course. So, we started being the first acne positive brand, which was all about empowering skin.
Just bring the mic, yeah.
Closer. Empowering all skin types, all skin struggles, about the acne positivity, because before we launched, all the acne brands were like, if you have acne, you're ugly. And we're like, no, you're not. So we started really from day one about inclusivity and also all gender, all types. And being a LGBTQIA+ brand, we always try to partner with other LGBTQ brands and creators all throughout the year, not just for Pride.
Yeah, I mean, for us, inclusivity is the origin of the business. So, honestly, when I first started the company, when I founded it in 2009, it was very early in the inclusivity, body positivity space. And so now it's super top of mind for every brand, for every company, and we're right there, we're right on time, and we have a lot of great storytelling that goes with it. So for us, it's extremely important. That's always been the origin of the brand and the importance of the brand. So we're gonna keep going.
There we go, you, mate.
Yeah, we're always looking to figure out ways that we can, expand into other customers because we weren't offering something. So a good example is a few years ago we launched a low bridge fit frame. So certain ethnicities have a different nose shape, and so a normal pair of glasses doesn't always fit great. So we created a special type of frame, taking our best-selling frames and putting it for that type of nose shape so that there could feel that level of inclusivity. And so we're always on the lookout of, first and foremost, just listening to our customers, but also people who want to be customers that might not be able to be customers right now, And that's one of the ways we think about inclusivity.
Super smart, man. I love that. Grace?
Yeah, similar to Aaron, we kind of started as an inclusive brand. You know, we're women-owned and founded. You know, we're women of color, and then we try to make sure that in all of our storytelling and our visual storytelling, I should say, that we make sure that we have the spectrum and of different hair types and skin colors and all sorts of different things, just to make sure that we are very inclusive as well.
Unreal. Yeah, it's we've got like this whole space, and it's really cool to see how you're using product to actually demonstrate. I think that's a really cool way, other than just the obvious. It's really innovative. Something else that's become very apparent in the last couple of years, I don't know, maybe just me, but we're seeing all forms of different C-suites pop up. You know, Kardashian's now the chief taste officer, I believe, of Beyond. Love her work. I've seen chief mum officer for some brands as well. I want to get, like, there's obvious benefit to it, but for someone, you know, leveraging their brand with, wanting to get their brand leveraged by maybe a big time celebrity, how do you see these big A-type celebrities being a part of a C-suite? Do you think they add value? So who wants to kick things off there? Erin, you want to start down the end?
I see this a lot in my category. Obviously, there's Kim Kardashian with Skims. There's Rihanna with Savage X Fenty. So it's very saturated, actually, in my category. I think for me, the benefit is that, as I mentioned, when we first started, skin tone inclusivity, body inclusivity wasn't a huge thing. And so these celebrities have kind of brought to light through their influence how important it is. So it actually benefits businesses like mine, where maybe people didn't quite understand it or people didn't quite subscribe to it. But you know, as a smaller business, sometimes it is hard to compete with those big celebrity names, but we have to find where we fit in that resonates with our customer. Like, for example, our customer maybe doesn't wear Skims because maybe they aren't a Kardashian supporter. We just have different types of customers, and me understanding that and learning how to speak to who that woman is or who that person is super important. But ultimately, I think the celebrities do help elevate the category that I'm in terms of inclusivity.
Who wants to go next?
I can just touch for a second on
Yeah.
it. So I think that both, whether you're going into a big box retailer or using a celebrity as a C-suite within your company, it's just another opportunity to use someone else's platform to sell your products. So whether it's, like I said, a celebrity or retailer, I don't mind that from exactly what Aaron said, this idea that we can leverage their, you know, star power essentially to make sure that the entire category is rising.
I'll go with you, David, mate.
I think, again, it just has to feel authentic, right? So if you think about the rising costs of digital marketing, being able to leverage someone's clout is really important, but only if it makes sense for that person, right? So I think, you know, we get asked all the time by athletes to wear Felix Gray, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but we've done work with like certain directors and things, because they shoot a movie and then they're an hour, you know, spend a year in editing, and so they are in front of a screen. So it's authentic ways to tell that story, because at the end of the day, consumers are smart. They know what makes sense. They know if someone's really using a product or if they're just getting paid for it. And I think if you take that perspective, you can find really good success. But like anything else, if it's not authentic, it's never going to work, and you're going to basically have paid out a bunch of equity or dollars for something that never really succeeded.
Enrique, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think for skincare, celebrities add a lot of value to it. I think for makeup, for example, like when Rihanna launched Fenty, that made sense because she couldn't find full inclusivity into makeup brands and not enough shades and colors, and I thought that was really revolutionary, and there was a purpose, and she did great. I think for personally skincare, I don't want to be, you know, proactive, pushing Adam Levine and be like, I'm now acne free, but it's not actually proactive, it's because it's in his stories. So I don't personally believe that a C role for a celebrity, for us at least, would be beneficial.
Yeah, I think you all touched on it. It's like, it genuinely has to be authentic. And like, I know personally, you know, I have a profile as a chef, and if I get approached by a brand, can offer you certain things, like, you know, if you're not going to be able to even sell the product, but that's from, I guess, a certain moral value from within me. It's why it's interesting is like at what level and what does the deal look like in order for you to feel like you're getting ROI on your initial investment, whether it be, giving away shares or whatever it is. It's a very interesting one to kind of calculate. So again, I think the most one is that as long as it's authentic and genuine, I think that's number one. At the end of the day, it's like we've seen brands give away X amount and they may have got a really good opportunity to raise money off the profile, but they, as a celebrity, don't actually bring in much conversions. It's maybe more on the actual ability to use them as leverage for raising capital. Just my 2 cents anyway.
If you can align it through performance, though, so either it's some sort of revenue share, it's some sort of partnered product that you've created, so a pair of frames, or a specific skin tone, like those things could go great. And also, we're big believers in treating it exactly like an employee. So put them on a 4-year vest period, 1-year cliff. If they're going to add value and they're feeling like they're good in this partnership, everyone's going to want to stay in bed together. But if it's not working for one reason or another, okay, so then you walk away.
So the final question as we wrap up is around clean brands. Now people say there's pressure. It's like, I think it's a moral obligation that we really look at having a clean brand. But how hard is it for you in your respective space to build a business that supports it, and how are you doing it? Because there's one thing, it's like, to go clean is awesome, but if you can't build a business that sustains the impact of what that clean is trying to do, it's unsuccessful. So who wants to start? I'm going to start with Grace.
Oh, sure. So we actually make sure that when we manufacture quite a bit overseas, and we just make sure that our manufacturers are registered with clean brands, not like dumping dyes and just completely doing horrible things to the environment, basically. So we try to do our vetting in the manufacturing process.
Smart. Enrico?
Well, I'm excited to say we became Clean as Sephora in April of this year, and that was an exciting moment for us because we had to reformulate our number one product. We have even higher standards, just Clean as Sephora now. For example, we ban all the 2000 ingredients that are banned in the EU, but for the US. And we always formulate keeping in mind that anything that shouldn't go on the skin, then I personally don't think should go on the skin. And at the same time, sustainability is a huge thing. And for example, we switched to all PCR packaging for our plastic packaging. We're launching biodegradable pouching in Q1 of 23, which we're currently using full pouches, which are not recyclable. And I think clean in general is just becoming a standard these days. It's not just, it's a nice to have, it's becoming the norm, which is great.
Yeah, this one's a hard one for us because underwear, it's a lot of spandex, there's a lot of waste. So we are similarly vetting and working with our manufacturers on how can we produce less waste. We were originally focused on using materials that were coming from eco-friendly materials, like spandex could be made from plastic bottles, and if you're using recycled plastic bottles. So that was a really big focus of ours. But ultimately, we asked the customer, how important is this to you? And they actually didn't care. And so, we had to kind of go back and think about, from a cost and efficiency perspective, did it make sense for the business? But it is something that we're constantly thinking about when we're looking at packaging, the waste and the dyes that are being used and the amount of water that's being used, for sure.
And if I can add something to that, which is, I think in my industry, like, for example, we're looking into sugarcane packaging, and they're much more sustainable than PCR than any other packaging, but they feel crappy. They're very not sturdy, they feel cheap, and then the consumer doesn't like it, and they think the brand is cheap. So it's always kind of like, what are the pros and cons of being sustainable? You also have to sell, so it's kind of a balance between the two.
So everything that everyone said, I think we're in a category that allows us to also bring a lot of product back into inventory and avoid waste. That's not something that every brand can do, but we have our own facility in Ohio where actually take back the product, we'll QC it, and we'll bring 80-85% of inventory back into stock, which, first of all, that's great for our financials, but equally as important, it means that we're producing a lot less waste. So that's something that was been very important to us for quite some time.
Yeah, it's huge. I know for us, the first when we launched our product, the packaging is the most upcycled food waste, best thing on the planet, but it tore whenever we sell it to like a consumer. So it rocked up in the box and we're just like, oh. So it's like you're trying to do good and fine, but at the end of the day, if it's torn, the consumer's not going to be able to use it. So we had to rejig that and go to the next level until we continually find supply chain. So it's really good to see you all doing it. I just want to say thank you for all being here. I highly recommend you guys follow each of our panelists today on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, I'm sure they have their respective people you can reach out to. But thank you very much, all of you, for today, and I look forward to seeing your brands continue to soar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.